What's happening? Pull up, pull up, pull up. Hopefully you can hear me. What is going on, everybody? Come on in. We'll have a quick chat just to catch up on everything that's going on. Have a little discussion about whatever it is you want to talk about. Welcome to the Day of the Sun, Sunday, day of inspiration. Let's see what we can breathe into each other here, share some information, what have you. Just for a little while. Obviously running late. It's about 12:31 Central Standard Time. I usually try to go on about 11 o'clock. Again, running late, but I wanted to follow through on my word. Just running a couple of errands. Beautiful day out. It is 75 degrees and sunny in the great Midwest state of Wisconsin. So welcome, come on in. It's your opportunity to share your outlook on topics, to ask questions or what have you. So please come on in. All right, we'll get started. We'll give people time to get on in here and hopefully have a great show. Hopefully lots of participation. Go tell somebody that we are live right now. Let me know if you can hear me. Make sure that you can hear me. Appreciate that. All right, let's get this thing going. We'll see you in a moment. All right. Welcome. Come on in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button as you come on in. We're just going to have an impromptu talk. Well, not really impromptu, but I was having an interesting conversation. Please let me know that you can hear me. I appreciate that. Please help me out in that way. Bobby Massey is in the house. Massey is in the house. Grand rising to you. Welcome back, Bobby. Thanks for your support. Always being faithful. Appreciate that very much. And thank you for the 777. It's 11. All right. And Joseph Henson is in the building. Grand rising to everyone. Thank you for being here. Again, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I'm here to have a discussion, intellectual discussion. I'm here to hear your opinions. I'm here to share my outlook on things. And inevitably, hopefully, we will all grow together. Audrey Jesse is here as well. Thank you for chiming in. Make sure you let us know what state you are listening from. Appreciate that. Rep your state. Rep your state. All right. Let's get this thing going. I was on the phone with my brother and who goes by Nick P. And I had invited him on today. We always have very thought-provoking conversations, very passionate conversations about the political climate, uh, from aliens to religion. We talk about all kinds of things. So, all right, Audrey says she is chiming in from the great state of GA, Georgia. All right, Georgia, Georgia. Love it. First time here, invited by Bobby Massey. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting Audrey over here, Bobby. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, let your friends and family know that we are live if you enjoy the content. It's your first time here. You're in for a great treat as we really get into the thick of it, as it were. All right. So, anyways, we were talking about specifically Nick P and I were talking about um, the political sphere, the families that started this great experimentation known as the United States. It is a plantation, whichever way you slice it or dice it. It is a plantation. It was created specifically for commercial activity to involve contracting. There is a specific system that is tasked with the expressions, the writings, the enforcement, et cetera, of contracts and all things commerce and trade. And that's your legal system, the American jurisprudence, the American law system. All right, uh, whichever way you turn, north, south, east, or west, you're going to run into Lady Justice. All right, no matter what you do. And so it would behoove us to understand this system. Um, Before we formulate a belief one way or the other, it's for us to understand. For without knowledge, right, the people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And so that's our situation. That's our human condition in the West, on the Western Front, is that most times than not, we are easily deceived because we lack knowledge. And so this is why we dub this channel KnowledgeWell. All right, the well where you come for knowledge. All right, so that's what we're doing. So, anyways, we're talking again about the political sphere. We were about to get into the alien disclosure issue. So I said, yeah, why don't we just turn on the camera, Nick, and if you feel so inclined, you can join us on the discussion. In fact, I will put the link. I'm going to put the link to join me, and I'll open it up. Anybody that wants to chime in, and you can pick your topic, whatever, and you can join me if you would like to. Let's see where I can put this at here. Somewhere right here. One moment. It's a little bit different. Um, All right, there we go. I think I'm back. All right. All right. Thank you, Joseph. He said he can hear me. Put my camera back up here. All right. So I was about to try to figure out how I can write a comment here. There we go. All right. So I'll put the link. Hopefully I can get this in there. Come on now. All right. So I did put the link to join me in the comment section just now. So if you feel so inclined, you got a topic you want to talk about, something that you're passionate about. All right. So the video is frozen. Please let me know what the status is, so I'm not just running my mouth for no reason. Somebody just let me know in the comment section that everything is good or not good or whatever. Somebody let me know. All right, Bobby Massey. Okay, it says 777. So I'm assuming that we are good. And so, okay, thank you, Audrey. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so there is the StreamYard link if you want to join me for any topic, whether it's political, legal entity, legal person, any questions that you have, perhaps how you found us here and what topic interested you. Feel free to join us. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Appreciate you all for being here. So we won't be on here long, depending on the participation. So we can talk about the alien disclosure if Nick wants to join. The link is in the comment section. I would definitely love to hear his take on things. He has a very unique viewpoint on all things political, governmental, religion. So it'd be great to hear from him today if he wants to join, or anybody else for that matter, if you have something you want to chime in on. Now, while we're waiting to see whichever way you all decide to go, I do want to catch you up on the declaratory judgment, because I'd really been harping on that a lot. I believe that that is remedy. I still believe that that is remedy that we could use. That is actually legally, all right, establish the declaratory judgment to actually address the issue of status and standing. Okay, so status specifically, the condition, your state of being. If you want to address that, you must go to the judge. You must go to the court to do that. All right, you have a legally legally protectable interest through the declaratory judgment. All right, and that will define your status, your standing in relation to someone else, or perhaps in relation to a statute that you might feel is unconstitutionally applied to you, or a facial challenge to the statute itself as being unconstitutional. But that is your remedy. All right, we have found that out. We have hashed that out. All right, and so with that being said, we wanted to make sure that we use that in the correct manner. Okay, and I just want to clarify that the declaratory judgment applies previous to the injury. Okay, so in other words, if there is a chance in a contract, or you're about to sign a contract, and you want to make sure that your status is recognized correctly, or you want to define whether or not you have limitations or certain rights or whatever before you get into that contract, and before you are put into debt or whatever, that would be the time to use that declaratory judgment. So in my mind, I'm saying when it comes to things like status correction, then I'm going to use that declaratory judgment and ask the court to define my proper status and standing in relation to a statute or an adverse party, such as a district attorney or attorney general or something like that. So that's what so far my research has led me to. I am actively using it. Okay, and so I will be keeping you abreast on the progresses and successes that I perceive will come in short order. Okay, so if you are interested in more information on that, please look back in the archive. I covered the declaratory judgment at length. I've read it out. And I'm gonna just say this: unlike most places that you're going to go to, I promise here at KnowledgeWell Media to always use the law from this point forward. I think I've been doing a pretty good job of doing that, but I just want to put that on the record that because I came from the old camps, right? I came from 10, back in 2015 and 2014 and what have you, where everyone was throwing around ideas. Okay. And this is why you have a lot of people erroneously applying things like the 1099 series of documentation. You got people writing letters to different departments, executive department agencies and whatever, is because of the misinformation. No one's really sure what to do. No one really has any demonstrable proofs that anything per se works. But everybody is trying something. We're basically just taking things and throwing it against the wall and seeing what sticks. Okay, so that's what's happening now. That's what we are subject to right now. So that reason I'm saying what I'm saying is that we got to make sure, and I found this out through the declaratory judgment research, that you have to have a legally protected interest. It's almost like stating a claim upon which relief cannot be granted. Federal Rule 12b-6. That a lot of times those cases will get thrown out. Why? Because you don't even have that legally protected interest or right. There's nothing in the law that affords you what it is you're claiming. Okay, such as, for instance, explanatory statements and whatever. I'm not trying to down anybody. I did it myself, right? In error, right? Before I really started to understand what it means to have a legally protectable interest. You have to understand. Okay, video was buffering several times. Okay, please just keep me aware that it's doing that. Hopefully it stays good now. I'm not sure what else to do except, okay. But anyways, that is the key, I guess, in everything that I'm saying, to sum it all up. Make sure any claim that you make that you legitimately have a legally protectable interest. What does that mean? When you remember, I always pay attention to those adjectives, those descriptor words that precede the noun, right? So the interest would be the noun. It's what type of interest is it? It's a legally protected interest. This means that there has to be a law on the books, all right, that backs up whatever claim you're making. Okay, that's what it is. So in other words, remember, we're encapsulated and inducted and incorporated into a legal type of sphere, a legal type of existence. And that is the only type of existence the state recognizes and the state's courts. Okay. And so with that being said, the only rights that are afforded citizens or people that have incorporated into a state are called statutory or legally protected interest or rights. That's all you got. That's the type. Because it's a legal system, they can only afford you legal rights. And so again, whatever you claim in a court or through a document or affidavit or whatever, no judge, no court, all right, and for that matter, no executive department, is going to enforce or otherwise recognize a right that you cannot demonstrate in law. I hope that translates well. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. And that has been the problem. So I don't care what process you try. I don't care what guru you sit underneath. If they cannot demonstrate a statute or law that will back your assertion and your claim, then you may as well keep your money in your pocket and push on down the road, because it's not going to stand is the problem. And that's what I think the most of us have come to realize, okay, is that all this stuff sounds good. It all sounds good. But when it comes down to it, there is no production, and nor can there be a production. Why? Because there is no, once again, legally protectable interest. And so that should help out, people going forward, people that are starting on their journey of discovery and research. If I could tell you anything from the experience of trying all sorts of kinds of things, right? If I could help you out today, look for a legally protectable interest in whatever claim you have. And if you cannot back it up in law, by law, and what I mean is the statutes, okay, the state statute, the state constitution, okay, but no, don't stop there. You need case law known as common law, which are basically just decisions of the courts, okay? And preferably you want to go the higher up in the courts for your state, the state court of appeals, the state Supreme Court. Obviously there's a pecking order. So if you're going to follow case law, it would behoove you to look at the case laws, the common laws of the higher courts. And then you won't find yourself into getting into much trouble. And then secondly, make sure that the case law that you do find is up to date. In other words, you don't want to necessarily be going back into the 1800s, right? For case law, because unlike natural law, positive law is constantly changing. Okay, so you want to stay up to date. Okay, try to stay as up to date as possible. Find law in the 90s, 1990s, and okay. So hopefully that will help out. Find a legally protectable interest. All right, find case law, statutory law, common laws to back up your claim, and you'll find that they'll stop disregarding your claims if you can find that legally protectable interest. Okay, so hopefully that will help someone out. If that helped you out right there, give me a 777 in the comment section. Let me know if it's still buffering or whatever before we go any further. I would greatly appreciate that. If you appreciate that information, again, 777 in the comment section, and let me know how I am tracking. Thank you. All right, so if you would like to donate to what we do here and keep us going, help us stay on the air, $ American Consulate is the way to do that. That's our Cash App scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. Greatly appreciate that. Anything that you can do, no amount is too small, and for that matter, no amount is too big. All right, but yeah, $ American Consulate. All right, and if you want to reach out for a consultation or whatever, you would like to talk individually about your particular situation, all right, you can hit us up at the knowledgewell4u@gmail.com. Should be right there on the screen. All right, that's our email. Or if you just had a question or whatever, and if I can help you out, I shall. Okay. As always, nothing that we discuss here or share here is intended ever to be legal advice. If you do need legal advice, please seek yourself a competent attorney. Please be advised. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. So, anybody got anything they want to talk about? All right. Mark. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you for all the 777s. Bobby Massey says 777. Audrey Jesse says 777. Marcavelli is in the house. Marcavelli 23. Welcome. And thank you for being here. Thank you for letting us know that the signal is good. And I'm open for questions. If there's no participation, no questions, then I will go ahead and move on down the road, or ease on down the road like the Wizard of Oz. Nick, if you are here, please use the let's see here. Yeah, StreamYard. Anybody want to come on? You have something that is burning that you want to talk about? Please feel free to do so now. Okay. Do not delay. Just follow the link there, and it'll put you into a back room, and then I will call you on for your discussion time or whatever you want to talk about or comment about. Feel free. Beautiful day out here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 75 degrees and sunny. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, yeah, so that's the declaratory judgment. That is remedy. That is to define your status and standing. That is the legally protectable interest or right. You have a legally protectable interest at any time. If you read that declaratory judgment, it'll explain that you can do this at any time. It is your right to do. So that's true status correction. You get a judge by court order to recognize your status and standing. And what do we, me personally, I can tell you what I'm arguing, what I'm looking to have declared is that, my status and standing, my standing, which is your legal relationship to something, is separate and distinct from the legal entity. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying. It isn't conspiracy theory. How could that be considered conspiracy theory if the judge, him or herself, is acting in a legal capacity? By that I mean, when the judge comes down off of the bench, and when the judge goes over, takes off that robe and hangs it up, right? And when that judge jumps in his automobile, right, for the night, he's done. He punched out the clock. Is he still a judge? Because as a judge, he is acting in a legal capacity. It's a particular type of capacity. What type of capacity? It is a legal capacity. Therefore, it was established by the legal industry. Yes, it's something that he can take off and put on. Off, on, like a light switch. Therefore, it is not with him all the time. It is something that he takes off. Same thing with a police officer, right? When the police officer is in the shower, at home, not yet at work, hasn't punched in, hasn't put on a badge, hasn't put on the uniform. He is merely, or she is merely, a man, a mere mortal. So what do you mean there is no such thing as a separate legal capacity? How can you argue and say that there is no separate legal entity, no separate legal capacity? It happens all the time. It's been happening. And so this is what I would be, right? This is what I would be arguing. I would be arguing that that there needs to be a recognition. And when it comes to legal sanctions or whatever, I was given a separate legal capacity in order to absorb, right, those sanctions. Put it like this. When you're playing a game of Monopoly or something to that effect, right? Anything that happens within the game is not actually affecting you physically. You might not like losing, so you feel some type of way about that, right? But when it comes down to it, that entity, that representation of you, right, that little game piece in that world is the thing that is absorbing the liability of whatever is landed on that board game. It is not you per se. And so it is. And so that's why cops and judges have particular types of immunities. So anything that they're doing when they're wearing that robe or that uniform is a strike against the capacity that they are acting in. You can sue them personally, individually, right? Or you could sue them in their official capacity. Look at that. And so it is with us. In other words, when you go to work tomorrow, the moment you punch in, you now belong to that company. And you have to do and act in accordance with the policies that have been set forth for the particular capacity under which you were hired. Okay? If you are the custodian for the plant, then it is your job, and it is and the welfare, or I should say the functionality, the maintenance of the equipment and products of that company are in your custody. Therefore, you are acting under a capacity, a legal capacity known as a custodian, because the property of that business is in your care or custody. Okay, now you can't take the property and equipment of that company home with you and use it as if it is your own. Because what you're doing is, it's a type of theft, you know, theft of movable property, or other types of theft, whatever. Okay, and so you can't do that. So it is with you. So it is with the judge. He or she has to keep their legal capacity separate, their judgeship separate from their personal life. Otherwise, excuse me, they are conflating the capacity with their individual natural self. If the judge takes the gavel home with him, the little hammer thing, gavel, right? Takes it to his child's school to show off, and starts mandating that everybody in the school bow down and worship him. Everything that I order here, you shall obey. Otherwise, you know, my gavel, my Thor hammer is going to take care of you type. You know what I mean? So what has he done? He's removed the products, the equipment for which was intended to be used only in his legal capacity as a judge, and he's abused his authority and his power and used it to strike fear and to control the laity. He's not even acting in the he's not acting in his judgeship. He's not in the courtroom. He's not on the bench. He's just abusing his power and his authority. And that's why you'll hear that sometimes they get sued in their as an individual, because they're or they get sued in their official capacity for violating the policies, okay, of which their authority derives. And so my point is, I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down, because it's very basic, very simple. It's just this, that we all wear different hats, different capacities. And it's important that you don't commingle the capacities in which you are acting. If you apply for and receive an LLC, you are to keep that LLC, its assets, its products, and what have you, separate and distinct from your own personal. Remember, before you even started doing business, you had assets prior to that. And then once you started the business, the LLC, you purchased an automobile, you purchased a phone for the business. You're not supposed to be now using your personal phone and your business phone and commingling, right? Or a better example is the credit card of the company, right? That credit card should be the company's credit card. You, before you even started the company, had your own credit card. Keep them forever separate. They're never supposed to, you're not supposed to share the assets, the funds between the legal entity, that artificial person known as a corporation or whatever. You're not supposed to intermingle that or commingle that with your personal assets. We taught on that. There's a doctrine, it's called the alter ego doctrine. This is a doctrine that the judges used to basically disband your corporation, because they find and discover that you're not using it in accordance with the policies, the intent of the legislature. A corporation is supposed to provide you with a type of perpetual existence. That's why it's called a corpse, a corporation, because it cannot die. It lives eternally. It's only a paper man or woman. I should say a paper person. That would be more correct. It's not natural. Natural things perish, or they cease to exist, they transition, whatever you want to call it. Legal entities never do. Okay. All right. So let's see here. We got I think it's Tupac Avelli is here. Let me see. See if we can get you to join up here. Tupac Avelli, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you able to show yourself? I usually don't like to have people on if they can't show themselves for obvious reasons. Are you able to show yourself?
It might mess up even more with the lag, but I can. Give me 2 seconds.
Are you there?
Oh!
All right, there you are. Very good. Thank you for. What would you like to talk about, too, Bacavelli? Can you turn it? I think you got music on. I'm gonna have to mute you if you.
I don't have anything.
Hold on, is that me or you?
I don't have anything playing.
I guess that was me. My bad. You're good. You're good. I'm not sure how that happened.
I just wanted to ask, do you have to become a state national for these things to work, or?
All right, so the question is, do you have to become a state national? I think that's what you're saying. Let me see what, I don't know why I cannot really hear you. Let me fix something real quick. Hold on. Give me one moment. Let's see if I can hear you better here. So I'm in my car. Let me see here. Not sure how to get speakerphone on. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
This pissed me off. Hold on, real quick. All right, can you hear me, Bacavelli?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let's see if I got a headset here. Probably should have did that in the first place. I believe your question was, do you have to be a state national to do what now?
To make any of this public-private stuff work, like so you're not the corporation.
To be honest with you, I think I understand what you're asking. I'm gonna put my headset in here. Hopefully I can hear better. But in my opinion, you do not have to be any state national or join with anybody else. This is an individual thing. This is a personal thing. It does not require that you be part of any group, member of anything. State national. I mean, the question is, how much of this have you found in the law, in common law? Again, if you don't have a legally protectable, you can hear both of us. Okay, thank you, Bobby. If you don't have a legally protectable interest behind the claim that you are making, then you don't have it. If you can't find anything in there that directs that a state national needs to do this in order to be recognized as a state national, then you don't have it. You have to have case law. This is going to be my going out into the ether is, if you don't have a statute or common law to back it up, it ain't gonna fly. We can't just arbitrarily and capriciously make up terminologies just because we want to build camaraderie and fellowship in groups. We can't just come up with our own terms and then try and enforce those through the various departments of state or federal government and think that they're going to go along with it, because they have no obligation to do so. It's nice to have camaraderie. I tried to build that myself, but it's not going to change. We can call ourselves KnowledgeWellians, but illegally in law, they're not going to recognize a KnowledgeWellian. That's just something I made up, right? So, well intended, but nonetheless, it's just a club that we're putting together. We like to be identified. We get off on that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you don't have to be a state national. You don't have to be an American national. You don't have to be any of that. You just have to know your rights, and so that you can assert those rights, and they have to be legally protectable.
Because I thought I heard you say correcting your status. I thought I heard you say correcting your status. I've only heard it in context of becoming a state national or whatnot.
Okay. Well, again, I've been studying on the declaratory judgment, and hopefully you've been catching that. But it clearly states that the purpose of the declaratory judgment is for the courts to define your status, your standing, and any legal obligations that you may or may not have. So I found the actual law as recognized, right, through the declaratory judgment that actually deals with status correction. They actually say this determines, the court determines your status and standing. So I personally have never heard another guru or platform talking about the declaratory judgment and saying, this is the remedy. As far as I know, this is what I came across, and this is what I've been sharing. I think you're still muted.
It was, so it's the you're going by statute, or it gets sticky to stay in common law. I know it makes sense to stay in common law. It's just tricky to actually stay in it when they trick you out of it all the time.
Oh, hold on real quick. Let me get I gotta get this headset fixed. Hold on. Make sure I can hear you. I think I should have what I need right here. Hold on. With these new phones, they're now going away from the old headphone jack. I think it's called a 3.5 or whatever, and now they're going to kind of like the C type or S type, C type, whatever. And so now you have to have an adapter to even plug your headphones into these new phones, and I don't like it at all. I really don't. One moment. Let me see if I can find the little adapter piece so I can put up my headphones on so I can hear you, because I can definitely not hear you. Give me one moment here. I know I kept one in here. Like any other time, it's like right in my face. Now that I need it, I can't find it. The human condition, I tell you. All right. I'm not sure where it went. What it is, what it is, you're gonna have to make it work. Beautiful out here. All right, so I'm gonna have to get real close to it so I can hear you. I'm not sure why it's not working. Go ahead, state your question again, man.
I mean, I'm just getting into, I know like about the corporation. I don't know if you've ever heard of Alpha Vedic, but they speak about how 1999 is when we no longer were in debt as a person and you're able to correct your status after that point. And I'm just, going down this rabbit hole of trying to have those rights as a non-corporate entity. So, I mean, anything down that line. And if you know anything about land patents, that would be appreciative.
Yeah, okay. So I believe in just being blunt about things, short and straight to the point. So the history is what it is. Okay, as far as being in debt, the nation being in debt, the unpegging of the gold from the U.S. currency, all that type of stuff. We can't really do much about that, right? What we must do is must understand how this thing came about, how to play this game the correct way, what's my standing in relation to what is going on, what kind of powers or legally protectable interests do I have. That is it, and that is all. Okay, we're going to make this really simple and plain. I started with legal capacities. I started with the declaratory judgment because they provided us the yellow brick road to lead us all the way to Emerald City. Emerald City are the courts. That's what Emerald City represents. That's where you go see the man on high. Okay, and so that is where the end of the road is, Emerald City. And when you get to Emerald City, as you heard me say a million times, you're going to find out that you had the remedy with you the whole time. What is that saying? What is that demonstrating through that movie? You notice that the remedy was on her feet the whole time. Okay, that is representational, allegorical, just like scripture. Okay, and what it's symbolizing is that thing that you stamp your footprint on, right? That birth certificate. That's the linchpin of the whole thing, right? That is the registration document showing that a separate entity has been created. But we didn't know that. Our moms, dads didn't know that. Our great-grandparents didn't even know it, right? They didn't know the game. They just went through 1929, the Reconstruction, the tanking of the system, the out with the old, in with the new order. That's what they went through, and they were panicked. They needed social insurance after that, Social Security program, Social Security Act. That's your introduction of the mark of the beast. That's what it is. It's not a chip in your finger. It's not a mark on your head. It's none of that. That's all symbolic. Okay. It is merely the number of a man. The scripture has said this from the very beginning. It's the number of a man. Well, what number do men carry around with them now that identifies them? Come on,
Social
man.
Security.
This is too simple. It's become way blown out of proportion. It's simple. And the mark of the beast has become the boogeyman that we're all looking for. Oh, one day he's going to get us, right? You've had it your whole entire existence. It's been there since they started the Social Security tracking system, basically. So get over it. It's already here. It's been there. Is it evil? Well, that all depends. Do you think a system is evil? Can a system be inherently evil? No. A system is an inanimate object. It is ran by men. The men and women behind the system are evil. The system is not evil. This system has worked for over 200 years. It's been flawless. It's been beautiful, right? I mean, if you enjoy entrepreneurship, if you enjoy setting up LLCs and doing business and trusts and all that kind of stuff, if you enjoy that, That's the system. It works. Donald Trump has proven that. He's filed bankruptcy, what, over 5, probably 10 times? Because he figured out it's an entity. It's not me. If it doesn't do what I need it to do, I'm going to tank it, crash it, burn it, and cut it loose and start a new one. You have unlimited power to create as many entities as you want to. Most of you know that because you probably got like 10 different EINs going through these different processes, right? You can start a new entity. You can rebirth and rebirth and rebirth a new entity until you die. They never put a limit on how many corporation persons you can create. And so if you know it, my point is it's learning the system. Once you learn the system, you're going to see how it works. And when you'll get hungry for it then. As you create these entities and they start to become profitable and you figure out how to, like Trump, those tax loophole avoidance strategies, not evading, avoidance. There's a difference. You got to look at the statute. It says tax evasion. There is nothing in statute that says tax avoidance is unlawful. And that's what Mr. Trump found out. And when you challenged him on it and said, hey, you're the president, you need to show all your taxes. No, I don't. No, I don't. Because the entity is not me and I am not the entity. It is separate and distinct from myself. And that's why you'll also find, you'll be wondering why people like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, all this stuff that they got caught up in, they never went to jail. Why do you think that is? Maybe because they got some attorneys that understand this backdoor stuff, that there is no liability upon Mr. Trump. There's only liability upon the entity he created. So when you know the game, you'll start to win the game. So with that being said, I wouldn't worry about all of these. I'm gonna just be straight up with you. I've tried most of all of these processes, y'all. Nothing. And I've challenged. I put challenge out there. A6 helped me put the challenge out there. If any one of these go, I don't care if it's from the top dude to the bottom lady. I've challenged them, and nobody shows up. Nobody wants to debate. Because what I'm simply going to say is demonstrate that it works. I'm just simply going to say that. Now, I'm going to take it a step further and say, demonstrate that you even have a legally protectable interest in what you're claiming you can do. Because I'll tell you like this, somebody came on and asked me not long ago about the 1099 OI, the 1099C or whatever. I don't play with that stuff, but he said, can you show me? And I said, sure, that's what I do. I'm an educator. So I took them right to the IRS website. You guys saw me do it. Took them right to the website. I had never been there before. I've just heard about it like you guys, right? So it took us less than 10 minutes to go to the IRS website and look at a 1099-C. And it clearly states that this is only intended for banking institutions. And so what people have done is said, oh, well, it's only for banking institutions, then I'll just act like I'm a bank. I'm going to find out what it takes to be a banking institution, but you cannot do that. That's not the way the game is played. So therefore, again, these people do not have a legally protectable interest because they do not qualify as a banking institution. So what are you doing messing with a 1099-C? That's not intended for you. I'm just saying. But that's what I would say in response. I know that was a long response, but yeah. Forget about all these processes. It's not even necessary. Go right up the middle. The middle is what? You need the court to define your status. And you have an unlimited right. You have a right to have that matter determined at your beck and call. All you have to do is petition declaratory judgment. I think you're muted, man. Can you hear me? I think you froze up. Okay, so let me look at the comment section. We'll wait for Tupac Cavelli, hopefully, to come back in. So, Jared Theros. Let me know if I'm still good, y'all. Let me know, because I think we're frozen. So let me know if we're good or not.
You're good now. My Wi-Fi is trash too, so.
Okay, very good. So let me did you have another question real quick, or?
Well, I'm trying to connect remedy with status corrections. Like you would have to go to the court and somehow they would acknowledge you as a non-dead entity corporation. Because like I've gotten like a live birth record and it doesn't seem to matter. They still treat you as a corporation. I'm just trying to understand the remedy in status correction and how the courts recognize it.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you have a judgment, an order by the court recognizing the distinction between you and the legal entity?
No.
Well, then, yeah. So who's going to honor it? So you basically take the court order, court judgment to the executive department so they can execute on the common law or the law that the precedence that has been set by the court. Until you get the court order, everything starts. You have to get the court order. You have to have a judgment. That's the only thing that these agencies, these banks, they're only going to obey a court order. That's it. Let me address this real quick. Jared Theros is saying, I emailed you after you were on A6. You said you had remedy. Haven't seen anything. Well, it depends. I mean, I don't think that we've had a consultation or anything like that. I would recommend that you start with a consultation. Everybody's remedy per se is not cookie cutter. Your situation may be different, so we would need to definitely have a consultation. I mean, if I make a claim that I have a remedy, which I did, I would man up on that. I did. I'm discussing that remedy right here. I think I've said multiple times now that declaratory judgment is our remedy. It is the legally protectable right that is in law. It is in law. If I was on my home computer, I'd pull it up right now. But if you pull it up, it's simple. Go look at the declaratory judgment and look what its provisions. What does the law say it was provided for? For you to have your rights, status, and legal obligations determined and defined by the court. They're merely going to define. They're going to say what is what. Now, again, I just addressed this. I said, can we prove that there is a separate legal capacity? Absolutely, right? Can we prove that a judge acts in a separate legal capacity? Absolutely, right? He's not going to deny it. He or she's not going to deny it. Every day you see a police officer in a cruiser going up and down the highways. Is that his normal car? No, it comes with the job, the part of the uniform. You don't revere per se the guy that's under the uniform. You don't respect the guy under the uniform per se, right? You hear people saying all the time. I bet if you take that gun off, take that uniform off, I bet you won't say the same thing to me after you don't have that on. See, you're shielded. That's why it's called a shield by the badge. You're acting under color of law. And that's what you are when you see that car, that police cruiser coming down the street, and something happens inside of you, right? It's not the man, it's the car. It's what it represents. That's what you're respecting. Okay? That's what's going on. And so that's because they are acting as actors in Hollywood. They're acting in their official capacity. That is separate and distinct from what is known as their individual capacity. See, what is capacity? Capacity is merely the authority or power or ability one has to do something. That's all it is. Let me catch up real quick. Jared says, no, you don't. So I think that was a response to whether or not you have to be a state national in order to have status correction or whatever. And I agree with Jared on that. Bobby says we can hear both of you very good. Jared Theros argues the courts don't get to decide your status. Well, I mean, I don't even think that's even worth arguing. You could do yourself that favor and just look up a declaratory judgment and see what it says. It says that this is an instrumentality or a legality that the courts use to do what? To define your status, your standing, or any legal obligations or the lack thereof. Now, that's not my words. Look it up for yourself before, we don't even have to argue that. That's already settled. And it's not my determination. This is in law, in your state as well as mine. Go ahead, Tupac Avelli, you got something else?
Not really. But yeah, with the I just see where they're coming from. It's like with the courts, you're almost, if you're giving them the power, it's like, how do you have inalienable rights? Like, how did you have rights before there were courts? If they're the ones that are dictating your power and title. I know if you want to use the courts for whatever reason, if you want to have certain, rights that can be taken away by the courts, you want to use them in that capacity. But how does that work outside of their legal given rights that they give you? Like people create the courts after a government's established, but where do the rights come from before that whole system is even created?
All right, good question. So basically, this is the common issue when arguing, debating, talking with people about this topic. Okay, the problem is you have to make the distinction. All right, remember, I always draw that line of demarcation. I called it on the whiteboard, right? I always draw that cross. On one side, you have a sphere called the jural sphere. Okay, jural suggests fictional, artificial entities, legal persons, commercial persons, all of that. Okay, that's on the jural sphere. The state is a jural society. It's basically a legal existence that is recognized or sanctioned under positive law. Positive law are the enactments of a duly authorized legislature known as statutes. Okay, so that's a whole sphere to itself. And what is a sphere? A sphere is half of a circle. Okay, so if you bisect a circle, one half will be the jural sphere. Separate that from the other side of the circle, which is the sphere, which is known as the moral sphere. The moral sphere, you'll find natural law. Again, in contrast with the jural sphere, where you'll find positive law, which are statutes, rules, codes, ordinances of men. The natural law pre-existed. This is your question right here, I believe. Okay, didn't you already have rights prior to the foundation of the state? Yes, you did, but they were not called civil or political rights. They are called natural human rights. That's the difference. That's the distinction that needs to be made. That's the argument that we're really trying to make when we're talking about I'm a natural man and your statutes don't apply to me and blah, blah, blah. What you are saying is, wait a minute, I'm not a citizen of the United States, nor of the state in which I reside. I'm just a lone wolf out here, and I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to play in your game. I don't want to be identified as a legal person. But then they always do you this. Show me your identification. Do you have a Wisconsin driver's license? Do you have a birth certificate? You see, they'll go down the list of all the legal instrumentalities which intertwine you into the state. Because if you're not a citizen, you can't get a Wisconsin driver's license. So it's a sleight of hand. It's a form of magic. We know this, right? It's a form of deceit, but it's deceit from the standpoint of deceiving your opponent across the net from you. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a game that is played. And that's why they say if you don't know your rights, then you have none. You have to be able to articulate, express, and enforce your own rights in order to be deemed legally competent. Well, since I can prove to you that we are not deemed legally competent because the trust is still extant. It's called the public trust. See, if you're legally competent, you don't need a public trust. A public trust is designed for the beneficiaries to manage and administer their estates because they cannot, because they are legally incompetent. You see, there is a termination point of the trust. The termination point of the trust, or I should say, the point of termination for the trust is what? When you become legally competent, meaning you reach the age of the majority, meaning you are 18 and some states 21 now. You no longer need mommy or daddy to administer or manage your affairs. This is the problem. We are kicking and screaming as the system is pulling us back into the night. We're kicking and screaming and saying, we do not want you to be our authority. We do not recognize you as our authority. But then, with the other hand, we are taking benefits, PPE loans. Every time there's a natural disaster or something like that, or something we just can't handle, we go running to Big Daddy government. And Big Daddy government is eternal. By that, I mean it is an artificial person. By that, I mean it was given a legal existence. It is a corpse, a dead body. It cannot die. It cannot, okay? It was created to create, it was created and formed to provide a perpetual existence. So the state of Wisconsin wouldn't just puff and be gone in a moment just because the last citizen died or something to that effect. The state will live on. The show must go on, and the show always does. And so with that being said, the misunderstanding is that until the trust is no longer needed, all right, you will always need a trustee. A perfect example of this and demonstration, which has been right under our noses the whole entire time, is the story of Master Wayne, Bruce Wayne, Batman. They give you a perfect demonstration of the setup. Okay, Alfred is the trustee over Wayne Manor. Why? Because if you know the backstory of Batman, Bruce Wayne, his parents were killed, mowed down in an alley by somebody that shot him, right? I'm not, whatever. However you feel about it, I don't know, whatever. All right, that's what happened. So this happened when Master Wayne was approximately 6 or 7 years old. He stood to inherit multi-billions because his father owned the Wayne Industries. He stood to inherit billions. Okay? Now, can a child inherit billions and not be a spendthrift? Meaning they'll probably go right to the candy store and spend a cool $1 million. That wouldn't be a wise investment, would it? Not at all. That would be a black eye to his father, to Wayne Industries, whatever. And so that cannot be. And so a trust was established. And that's what the part of the story that they're not telling you, but they are showing you. Alfred takes Batman at age 6, 7 years old and raises him as his own. Alfred is able to push the Rolls Royce. Alfred wears the finest of thread. Alfred eats the same filet mignon and whatever the rich folks eat, because that is the benefit of being the trustee. The property doesn't belong to him, but yet he can partake in it as if it is his. That is the power of being a trustee. That is what Donald Trump has learned. You don't want to own anything. That's what Mr. Rockefeller says. All the answers have been there. We rehearse it as if we know what we're doing, but we don't apply it. My point is that just as in Master Wayne's situation and predicament, the fact that he was too young to inherit the money, the billions, is why a trust is necessary. And therefore, a friend of the family steps in, takes on the role as trustee, and now Master Wayne is left to his own devices, dressing up in Batman gear, dressing up in pajamas and running around the state, fighting, being a vigilante. Okay? In other words, he's still acting like a spendthrift, right? Alfred tells him, man, you need to calm down on the partying. All you want to do is party and have girls and have fun and have a hot boy summer. That's all you're doing out here, Master Wayne. Let me take care of Wayne Manor. Remember when he goes into to take over or allegedly inherit Wayne Industries or whatever it's called? And the board members are like, or whatever, like, I don't think this is a good idea. He's clearly irresponsible. He's just a partier. Why don't we just let him continue to party as he does, and we will run Wayne, Industries? And that is exactly what is happening here. Okay. The state trustees are doing their job because they know that you are considered a spendthrift. They know that you don't know how to properly play the game. And so they're afraid that you're going to splurge through all of your assets, burn them out, party it up. Right. And the state needs you to continue to play on the plantation. It needs your labor, your energy. Okay, so let's give him a back seat. We will take over as the public trustees, your politicians. We will represent their interests. They don't need to speak. In fact, just sit down and be quiet. If you got something legal, leave it to the big boys. Go hire an attorney. Don't, you know what I'm saying? You can't do this. You're just a ward of the state. You don't understand how this game is played. Okay, and that's what's happening. So to answer your question again, yes, there is a distinction. Okay. Yes, you did have natural inherent rights prior to joining or incorporating into the state in which you reside in the United States. Yes, you did. But guess what? You made a transition. You commuted over into the legal sphere, the jural sphere. And when you did that, according to Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, there is an unlimited right to contract. And no state can impair the obligation of a contract. Therefore, whatever you bind yourself to, as the scripture says, whatever you join yourself to, all right, you will become that. The scripture is really warning against humans crossing over, traversing, transgressing, committing moral wrongdoings, aka sins, into the jural sphere. Humans are supposed to stay on the moral side of law. And when you do not, and you transgress over into where men are not supposed to go, you commit a sin, which is a moral wrongdoing, a breach of the moral law. So you must keep them, as the song says, you got to keep them separated. Go ahead, Tupac Valley.
In that Batman analogy, who would be the beneficiary?
Good question. So the beneficiary in that particular situation is Master Wayne, but it would be not Batman. Batman is the alter ego, the legal entity. See, it's a fiction.
Is that before or after he turns 18 or becomes a legal adult?
It would be, excuse me, it would be in accordance with whatever the terms of the trust document known as the trust indenture states. So you, as the trustor, the one that established it, or in this case, or in this scenario, Bruce Wayne's father is the trustor, or aka settler of the trust. Therefore, he sets the terms and guidelines under which Master Wayne either acclimates, obeys, right, or he does not. If your beneficiary does not obey the terms of the trust indenture, then he or she may be cut out of it. Okay, because the trustee, which is in this scenario, Alfred, is going to go by the law. What establishes the law? The contract makes the law. Okay, so to answer your question once again, Master Wayne, in his human capacity, individual capacity, not as the superhero, which is symbolic of the artificial person that we all act as on a daily basis to our detriment, because we commingle the two. If Master Wayne forgets that he is not 24 hours a day Batman, then the gig will be up. Somebody's going to call him on the carpet and say, we figured it out. Because see, whenever Batman is here, Master Wayne has disappeared somewhere. Nobody in the whole Gotham City sees, where's Master Wayne at? I tell you what, we're going to do an experiment. We're going to do an experiment. This is what the people of Gotham will say. We're going to do an experiment because we're going to figure out who this masked crusader is. What we're going to do is we're going to get Batman. We're going to cage him up, and we're going to chain him up, and we're going to put him here, and we're going to keep him under surveillance for 48 hours. Now, everybody in the city, go find Bruce Wayne. The gig is up. See, you can't always be. You're supposed to go in and out of the capacities. You're never supposed to stay. And the detriment, the thing that we have done to our detriment, the erroneous application, is what we have done is we have remained in our artificial capacity, our legal capacity, all of our freaking lives. And now what we're saying to the government of the legal capacity, the government that created the legal capacity, the father, the parents patri, what we're saying is, yeah, so what? We have the Batman uniform on, but you can't prove that we're Batman. No, we're humans. Well, you never took your mask off. Now, lastly, the word persona, the Latin word persona, merely means what?
Mask.
Mask. Mask. Each one of us have been wearing our mask. Now, what happens? What happens? Halloween comes around, right? You put on the Jason Voorhees mask, or the whatever your particular, whatever, the It Clown mask. You put that mask on and you never take it off. How old are you? I'm 46 years old. Let me just say that. I'm 46 years old. If I put Jason Voorhees mask on and I wore that since I was 16 and I'm 46, that would look kind of weird, wouldn't it? I never take it off. That's what we're essentially doing. We're never taking off our legal personality because we keep identifying as it. So therefore, it never is recognized as being separate from us. It is us that has convinced the system to believe that we are Jason Voorhees for 30 years. We're doing it because he or she that does not know the law, or he or she that does not know their rights, has none. So you have the right to remove that mask and make sure it's separate from yourself. And that's what the declaratory judgment will do. That's it, and that's all. I think you froze up again. All right. Bobby Massey says, bravo, I say. Thank you very much. So glad you're here. Heather Bell is late. I saw you creeping in the back of the classroom. I saw you. I'll see you after class. Greetings and salutations to you as well, Heather Bell. Thank you for being here. Baby Productions in the house as well. All right. Keep the comments coming. Otherwise, I'm going to cut the feed and go on about my day. Anything else you want to talk about? Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Oh, Roblox is here. Good to see you, Roblox. Thank you for being here. Make sure, take just one moment of your time right now and go ahead and just hit that thumbs up button if you appreciate this information. I mean, we've given it to you. We've given it to you. This might be one of those ones I might have to take down. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Tupacavelli. What do you think? Should we take this down or leave it up? Is this good for the people here, Tupacavelli?
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Anything else you got for me, Tupacavelli? I believe you froze up again, if you can hear me. Audrey, Jesse says, wow, clarity. Amen. Amen to that. Heather Bell says, LOL. All right. All right. If you show your love through donation here. I mean, is this good? If this is good, you know what? Ixnay on the good. We don't do good. We do positive and negative. Remember that? Let me stay true to my message. Positive and negative, not good or bad. Good or bad are trigger terms. It's word art. It's magic. Whenever they train you, whenever you hear bad, to think one way. But what you really need to be focusing on is the level of positivity or negativity. That's what you need to be focusing on. Speak life. And life is in terms of positive and negative, right? My car, I can only bring it to life when both the positive and negative are working in sync. One is pushing and one is pulling, the yin and the yang, as above, so below. It's not bad. It's not good. Okay? Go ahead, Tobacco.
Yeah, it's just strange to me, like with the birth certificate, how they like trick you into being a lesser capacity, and then it's like you go to the person that's been abusing you, you have to petition your kidnappers to let you go. It just logically seems strange to me that the people that have been abusing you your whole life, you have to petition them as if they're the god to let you go.
You're 100%. They are the god. They are the god. They're the god. Why? Because a god is the creator. Okay. Now, again, don't take this personal. Listen to the term. Don't take what's happening personal, because it was never personal. It's not personal. It's business. Isn't that the term? It's commerce. It's never personal. It's business. All right. We just haven't learned to think like them. But when we learn to think like them, it will become a Shark Tank for real. Right. And you'll be one of the judges up there with the money, throwing it out, investing, being wise and all that kind of stuff. Don't take it personal, because they're not talking about you. They're not your God as a natural human being. They know they didn't create you, but they did create what?
person, the fiction.
They created the legal entity. Okay. And you gave them permission to do it. Actually, your parents did, right? Your mom did. Because we know that the legal name is a translation from your given and family name. It was something that you merely just handed over. You handed it over. Without you being naturally alive and having a given and family name, they have no material to make the legal name. Does that make sense? Okay. So who gave them your given and family name so that they can create the new entity? We did. So, but again, we just didn't realize that a separate entity was created upon the act of incorporation into the state. That's what we did not know. We're just now learning that. We're late to the table. We're late to the game, but better late than never, because it's going to be most important going into this new paradigm. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. You may have heard of a thing called transhumanism. You don't know how real this really is becoming. This is really becoming. That's a redundancy, but most people don't realize what is actually taking place. This whole mark of the beast thing, you've already had it. The consideration is how to streamline this process, how to build smart cities where you can walk in a door and it knows exactly what it is. You're already doing it now. How many of you have Alexa in your house? Huh? You're doing it already. I mean, the computer, the AI knows you better than your mom knows you. It's a wrap. So stop running from that which you cannot escape from. Remember the dreams you used to have, running and you're stuck in the mud and you're trying to go and you can't? That's what you're doing. It's a rat race. You're just going around on a wheel. You're afraid of your own shadow, which is your legal entity. They call it straw man, it's shadow man, whatever you want to call it. You're running from your own self, or the entity that copies you, follows you. It's spooking you because it's so much like you. You're looking in the mirror like what's his name in the Matrix, Neo in the Matrix. You're looking when he first took the pill. The first thing he did, they're showing you. He went right to the mirror, didn't he? And that's when the rabbit hole started. When he touched that mirror, because it looks so much like him, but there was just something weird about it. It's almost like me. But when he stuck his finger in there, whoops, you touched it. And it bonds with you now. Bonds, like, yeah, chains and bonds or bond market. Yeah, you're bonded. And it totally takes you over and you go down that rabbit hole. Okay. And then your eyes are truly open. Okay. And that's what we're experiencing. So, but again, don't take it personal. Don't get emotional about this. You're not even supposed to be dealing with this emotionally. Why do we know that? Because the entity that was created is an artificial entity that does not have emotions. So whatever they afflict upon that entity, they're not concerned about it being sad. All right. This is business. Run this business. Some of you are way smarter, way more intelligent than any of these yahoos on Capitol Hill or wherever, these politicians. You could probably talk them under, you know what I mean? You're way sharper. That's why information, the lack of knowledge it leads to your destruction. Because if you only knew the power that you possess, you would run this system as opposed to being run by it. That's the difference. So don't take it personal. It was never about you as a human. And in fact, I'll give you a greater sense of authority and power. This is the day of inspiration, right? So check it out. If you look up the legal definition of jural, Jural, they explicitly state the distinction between that which is natural law and that which is positive law. That which is a jural, juristic, or juridical person and the natural person. Then go over to the positive law codification House of Representatives website and look at positive law codifications and read that. And you'll see that they there are stating that natural law pre-existed all other law, including positive law, which are statutes, enactments of a duly authorized legislature, and that they are distinguishable, positive law and natural law. Therefore, remember I told you about the spheres, the two sides of the circle, two halves of the circle? spheres, they are forever to be separate and distinct. They were never meant to be commingled. Only ignorance and the laity tries to commingle what should not be commingled. And this is what we've been doing our whole entire lives until now. You've already accomplished status correction. I always quote, I always get his last name wrong. Saul Agorsky, I want to say. But I've been, this quote has been reverberating in my mind since I was probably since 2005. So yeah, about 18 years. And it is this, and this should help people here today and going forward. Without correct thought, there can be no correct action. Simple, but man, if you get that, wrap your head around that, that is powerful. Everything starts with the thought. Once you start thinking correctly, you can act correctly. That's where it starts. The battlefield of the mind. Somebody wrote a book. I forgot who wrote that book. But that's where that's the battlefield starts here first. So my point is, you have to, status correction has to start here first. You have to think status correction and what it is. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you going to accomplish in a positive direction? Okay. And that is, know thyself. To thine own self be true. And all the other sayings out there about self. You were never meant to lose your individuality. We were never meant to. I don't care if it's in a civil union called a marriage, a civil union through the state, contract. You were never meant to lose your individuality. You were always supposed to keep it. What is Benjamin Franklin allegedly quoted as saying? You have a Republican form of government, but only if you can keep it. And the fact that we have the public trust in existence today, in the way that it is run today, suggests it creates a prima facie case that we are not able to administer or manage our own affairs. Therefore, the public trust is needed because you are, as Master Wayne, still running around in your pajamas, having hoop dreams. All right, let me see here. Let's see. Nick P, you want to join us on the discussion, or I put the link in the comments section. I'll put it up again here if I can find it here. If you want to join us, you got something you want to chime in on. I won't be on here too much longer. It's KnowledgeWell. There it is. I put it up on the screen. If you want to join Tupac Valley and myself for a conversation, you are more than welcome to do so. All right. So Nick P says, the mark has been attached to your legal entity. What we are to avoid is that mark being joined to your human physical vessel. Or so it is supposed to be, as the movie Avatar. That's disclosure too. You're supposed to be operating independent and separate from your avatar in that realm, in that sphere that I told you about. It's a whole different sphere. They demonstrated it by going to another planet. Okay. The dark side of the moon. Okay, there's a dark side of the earth too. You don't see it. It's in two halves, the hemispheres, right? So it's all symbolic, allegorical, metaphorical, whatever you want to say. But the point of the matter is you're supposed to keep the spheres separate. We did not, therefore we lose out because we have demonstrated that we don't know what the hell we're doing, and that causes injury upon ourselves. Though, secondly, the most important part of this, why did they create these legal fictions, artificial persons? You can read, boy, I'm giving away all the goodies today. You can read William Blackstone's dissertation study on artificial persons, and there he declares the purpose, why they were created, and it hasn't changed. Okay, you need them to have capacity to participate in the sea of commerce. I use the analogy of a submarine. Your body was never meant to go into the sea, right? It's obvious because you're not the top of the food chain in the ocean, are you? I don't care how big and bad you walk around on the planet. Take your happy self down in the ocean and play around for a little bit. If the water temperatures don't kill you, the animal, the sea life will kill you. If the sea life don't kill you and you go somewhere you're not supposed to go too deep, the pressure is gonna kill you. It was not, if you don't breathe for so long while in the sea of commerce or in the sea, you're going to die. You're gonna suffocate, you're gonna die, right? Drown. So it is in the sea of commerce. Without an entity, you have no capacity, therefore. Therefore, you have no legally protectable interest. Do you see what I'm saying? It's going full circle now. We're going right back to the beginning because it's consistent like math. Okay? You have to have those capacities, but you must know thyself. To thine own self be true. Okay? Let that thing handle its business. The whole purpose of having it, lastly, is to avoid liability. Let it absorb its own liability. Keep it separate from yourself. Blame it. And in fact, did you know that you can sue it? Oh boy. Let's not go down that rabbit hole today, though. Chewbacca, you got anything else?
I've heard that the reason why the fiction was created was to be used as collateral because the state or whatever already collateralized the land and I think the gold, and so they had to create another way to collateralize.
All right, I think you were. Are you finished? Because I heard you said collateral. It was created to collateral.
Yeah, towards the banks. That they had to create this fictional thing so they can basically, creating debt. So they had to. They already sold all the land and the gold, so then they had to create these fictional people to collateralize them.
Okay, I won't go as far as to say that they sold all the land and all that kind of stuff. I know that, yeah, people can purchase, other sovereigns, I think, can purchase land here and all that kind of stuff, such as China and all that guy. Okay, so to me, that's not as much of the problem as it is, I think, the other point that you're making. Okay, yes. How should I put this? This entity was created. Okay, the whole story of Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm going to tell the truth. The whole story of Jesus Christ, right, is the depiction of this artificial person in its existence, separate from. Okay, so you got the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, right? One is flesh. Natural law, natural man. One is spiritual. The legal entity is invisible. It's a spirit. Woohoo! It's chasing you all through your life, right? Okay, so it's right there. Okay, it's all there. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So that's what you have here. Okay, it's a sick, twisted. I'm not gonna say sick. It's a genius idea that they put together, and then they doubled down and created little pockets of religions to further cause dissension and division. Because how do you conquer a people? Get them divided, get them arguing with themselves. So if they get the Baptists to argue against the Seventh-day Adventists and the Seventh-day Adventists to argue against the Pentecostals and the Pentecostals to argue against the Catholics, and it's a perpetual ritualistic never ending debate. Why are we still debating whether Jesus Christ lived, that this was such a monumental event and all that kind of stuff? He was crucified and witnesses have seen this, and there's scrolls that teach about. Why are we still debating about whether Jesus existed? How many more hundreds of thousands of years are we going to debate this topic?
Till he comes
How come
back.
there is no definitive? And some people will argue that there is, because I believe. I have faith. That's all I'm supposed to have. Well, good. I hope your faith works for you. But I got questions. And when I get my answers to my questions, it grows me. It adds to me. It's positive in nature and not negative, right? Whereas a boogeyman, a ghost, somebody that I can't see, can't touch, right? I'm just told to believe blindly, just blind faith. That doesn't add to me. It takes away from me.
Founded faith is what you're looking for.
Say again.
Founded faith. Faith based in an understanding rather than just blind faith. Founded faith is the concept I've heard it.
Yeah, I mean, and I can get into that too, because I've broken faith down. What whatever we want to believe is one thing, but what the original drafter of that term meant and intended to be meant behind faith is pistis. Pistis is the Greek for faith, and it merely is divine persuasion. That's all it is. And divine is merely is two words, die and vine. Die means two or twofold, right? That's all it means. And then vine is a plant that produces a fruit for profit. So divine is merely something that produces fruit for profit twofold. It's doubly profitable. That's all divine is. So you're persuaded that something produces fruit for profit twofold. That's what faith is. It's not so mystical anymore when you just get down to the brass tacks of what did the inventor intend? Just go back there. Let's stop. We added all kinds of urban legends, mythologies, and everything to what somebody created. And that's the human condition. That's what we do. We create our own boogeymans. Thor, Zeus. Now we got people thinking that there's actually somebody up there with a lightning bolt. And yeah, you better act really nice, because Zeus may strike you dead. That's what we do. That's the human condition. When we cannot explain the unexplainable, we create our own gods. When a volcano naturally erupts, the kings were using that as a fear tactic to control the masses. He was acting as if he was a friend to the god. Because he had the scientists that studied the geologists who studied the timings, the approximate timings of an eruption, and therefore the king was able to know the inside information about the timing of the eruption. So therefore, at that particular point in time, it would be election season. Oh, how funny is that? Every time the freaking volcano's about to erupt, it's election season. Kind of like what we deal with today. They always take us to war around election season. Kick it off. Yeah, more profitability. Get the people worried, fearful, so they resonate or vibrate on a low frequency. Fear, fight or flight, huh? It's no more rational when you're in fight or flight mode. What is it? You're not being rational. All rationality goes out of the window. So they can tell you that an alien disclosure we found one. We finally are going to disclose it to you. Yeah, right around election time. We're going to disclose. Oh, you're going to see it. You're going to see it. Oh, in fact, it's approaching us now. And then everybody gets to vibrating on the low frequency. You know, a new variant vibrating on a low frequency. Yeah, that's all it is. It's a game, guys. It's a game. The world is a stage. And just like you go to the movie theaters every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they improve upon the technology and make it more and more persuasive and convincing. Soon you're not even going to know. They're going to put that virtual reality right on your freaking fat head, and you're not even going to know what's real anymore. Half of us are saying it now. The AI is duplicating things. I seen one the other day where they merged Whitney Houston. Excuse me. The AI merged Whitney Houston's face with Arnold Schwarzenegger's face. And it was amazing. You wouldn't know the difference. My point. That's where we're headed. The push is to merge man and machine. The push is to get you through homosexuality. I'm not a homophobe. Let me just say that. I'm not a homophobe. I love everybody equally, no matter color, race, creed, whatever. But I will tell you this. I'm still going to speak to the danger that is being used by whoever those powers may be. I don't really care who they are anymore. But they are using that agenda, because if they can get you to give up your natural and inherent status as a natural human being, then they can do away with those pesky human rights. If they do away with the pesky human rights, then you will be subject to man-made law, civil rights, and political rights. And you think you're in trouble now, when you are no longer under the protection of human international laws. Ain't nobody coming to your rescue. Nobody's coming to your rescue anymore. It'll just be, hey, they contracted in, they are our subjects. Just like you go work at Amazon, whatever. They don't care, man. You come here to work. I don't care about your opinions, what you think about it, how big we are, how much money we're making, and how little money you're making. We don't care about that. You come here and punch this clock. If you don't like it, we'll find somebody to replace you. Yes, we're becoming a corporate state all the way, 100. And you are voluntarily waiving your human rights by waiving your human status and saying, instead of that, I elect to be a he, she, it, they, them. Just call me a pronoun. See, you just lost your human identity. You gave it up. You waived it. And this demonstrates and shows the plight, of the human and the human condition of the Westerners. We don't even know we're just waiving it, just giving it up. Because guess what? Look for a he, she, it, they in the Constitution. Now try to claim your first 10 amendments. Huh? Because you don't have it. You waived it. You gave it up. There is no protection for an it, they, he, she, him, or they, or whatever. It says humans. It says man, woman. You're going to voluntarily give it up. You're literally going to voluntarily give it up. And that's when the system will completely take over. You want to see the man of sin, the son of perdition that the Bible talks about in Revelation? You want to see that manifestation? Keep going the way we're going, because the real ID is right here. The ID.me is right here, and that is a federal citizenship. Do I need to say more? Keep going that route. We're walking right out. We're walking right out of humanity, right out of the human sphere, that moral sphere under natural law. We're walking right away from it and right into the jural sphere. You are merely going from where you're at today right to Disney World. Only this time it's not going to be to visit. You're going to be living there permanently. That's the difference. I think we're all frozen up here.
Before you go, is there a form that corrects your status that you would get a judgment from? Like, would you have to go in front of a judge to get a judgment, or is it just a form you fill out? Is there an actual, what would be the name of that, or the basic process steps of doing that?
Okay, so Joseph Henson, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. I enjoy doing what I do. Please show your love and support at the Cash App, $ AmericanConsulate. Okay, look in the comment section for all the links. I believe BB Productions has put those in there. Am I still frozen now? All right, we're going to be ending up here quick. I'm going to address Tupacavelli's question. Is there a form? Hopefully I'm not frozen. Let me know if I'm not frozen now. Are we good now?
I'm hearing you. Okay.
All right. Anybody else in the comments? Just is there a form? Yes, there is a form, but I'm not referring to it for form. Yes, there is a procedure. There is a legal. Video's not frozen. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Kimberly Miller's in the house. Hey, sis, what's going on with you? Roblox family says we are trespassing. Listen, y'all. Oh, my God. I just felt that, Roblox, when you said that. We are trespassing. We're trespassing. You're going where we're going. You did not get permission to go here. Whose permission? You didn't get Mother Nature's permission to leave your humanity and go over into a fictional realm. You never got Mother Nature's permission. It is a blight, a disregard to the forefathers and foremothers. I don't care how far you want to go back. You want to go into ancient times, Egypt and all that kind of stuff. It's still a blight against those people. They knew. We're going to discover that they knew what we are now rediscovering. And they are speaking through each one of our DNA sequences to get us back in alignment. And this is that time. What do you think 2020 was? Why do you think Corona hit on 2020, which is symbolic of perfect vision? Because this was the age of awakening, when the eyes of man, or a lot of us, not most of us, but a lot of us, was going to be open. The DNA code, the sequence, it's already been written. Your ancestors have been speaking and trying to get a message into the future. Each one of your lines, each one of your generations were supposed to be carrying the baton into the future to notify you now. That's why you woke up in 2020 or there around. So they had to pull off the biggest heist in history, because the awakening time is now 2020, perfect vision. So what they did is they introduced a little twist on you again. These people are genius. Listen, a corona is the light around, the ring around when the sun is eclipsed, or a solar eclipse, the ring around the eclipse is known as the corona, right? The corona or crown, okay? And so that only happens when the light of understanding is eclipsed. Let me go back. Some of y'all missed that. So in 2020, when the understanding of humanity was to be open, and all the DNA was speaking from the forefathers, the ancestors, from the grave and on, or not the grave, they're not in the grave. Okay, they're in a different dimension. That's where they're at. But later for that. But anyways, they have been speaking, and they finally got a message to us, and that message, like light, reached us in 2020. It took that long for it to get here, from whatever dimensions they're speaking from. That's why we all woke up collectively. Do the math. When did you really get going on this journey? I mean, really get going. Not like I'm hearing stuff and I'm watching YouTubes while I'm working. I'm talking about you got diligent. It was time. About 2020, 2019. Everybody started waking up. Wow. Right? Everything. All right. So check it out. That's because that message finally, that's how much time it took for it to reach you, the ancestors. From all the, okay, so now they reach you. They tried to cut it. Uh-oh, I think I lost feed. Are you there? Everybody there? Everybody there? Let me know if you're there. Yeah, they're probably going to hit me with a good one. Probably going to take it down. Are you there? Anybody there? Anybody there? Can you hear me, Tupac Valley? I think you're muted or something. All right, Kimberly says that is the truth. Audio is in and out now, but you're back now. Okay, so it looks like Tupac Valley is trying to dial back in. I mean, I expect no less, right? But where else are you going to get this information? Who else is telling you like this? Make sure you show your love and support. I'll put it up there for you again while we're waiting on Tupac Valley to get back on. CashApp scrolling across the bottom if you want to show your love and support, if you appreciate this type of information and want it to continue. The power is yours, Captain Planet. Remember that? With our powers combined, earth, wind, water, fire. Remember that? All right, let me see if I get Tupac Valley back on here. All right, we have you back, Tupac Valley. Can you hear me? Yeah, your audio is still out. Let's unmute you. Are you there?
Yeah.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, very good. Yeah, so the ancestors are communicating with us was the point. It's coming through your DNA sequence. It is more than we know. Okay, it's not just chemical and all that kind of stuff. It is way more. They're not telling us everything about the unlocking, the uncoded, decoding of our DNA, whatever. But a later show for that, Nick P would be great to talk about with that. Hopefully we'll get them on here next time. But yeah, so now in 2020, it reached us and they tried to cut it off at the pass. They cut it off by putting the light out. Coronavirus. Corona only happens during an eclipse when the light is put out. You follow? You picking up what I'm putting down? That was their way of trying to cut us off at the pass, because they knew that the age of enlightenment was about to happen. And so that's why you're seeing a convergence of the destruction of the old world system to put in the new world order, the phoenix rising from the ashes. All of this is coming down. You better figure out what side you're on. What I mean by that is you're either going to be, how should I say, become 100% a non-recognizable human and completely transfer over into the legal side of things. You're going to have it one way or the other. You're not going to be able to just stand in the middle anymore. You got to choose. Scripture says, choose ye this day whom ye shall serve, right? That's what's happening. God is just merely natural law. That's all it is. Choose ye either God or Belial, right? God or Mammon, the God of money, commerce, commercial. Choose. Are you going to stay natural, is what they're saying? Or will you be sucked into a transhumanist state, condition, status? That's all. I mean, it's really simple now. You remember Neo was running from the agents the whole movie, until finally he said, "What are you telling me? I can dodge bullets?" And what did Morpheus say? No, silly. I'm telling you, when the time comes, you won't need to dodge any bullets. And then from that point on, when he knew himself for the first time, he said, "Why are my eyes hurting?" Remember when he woke up? And Morpheus was like, because you never used them. You've never used your real eyes. Well, I say to you, KnowledgeWellians and other people out there, why is it so painful? Why do you want to take this so personal? Why do you feel this in your body, when you're not supposed to? It's because you never used the separation, the distinction between yourself and the legal entity. Therefore, you've been absorbing the pain all your life of debt, being a debtor. You've been enslaved voluntarily, mind you, because the law, 13th Amendment, outlawed involuntary servitude. But you can still voluntarily become a slave by contracting. Enter into a place where you don't belong, absorbing all liability because you don't know that you're different. You're separate and distinct from the legal entity. And so again, the ancestors have communicated 2020, and they attempted to put the light out. Okay, but as a eclipse, sooner or later that moon's going to move again out from in front, and then light's going to full light, and we're on the other side of that now. So it's great. I have to say, we ain't seen nothing yet. You think bread prices and eggs and gas and all, you ain't seen half yet. You ain't seen a quarter yet. It's going to get so dark that we're going to question our sanity. So, and that's not I'm not trying to fearmonger or a fear tactic. I'm trying to educate, because the only people that get destroyed through these type of things, best believe me, let me just say this, that during the Great Depression and other such, the most millionaires were made. What does that tell you? People started figuring out the game because they got sick of being played. You either play the game or the game will play you. Don't hate the game, whatever. But this is what it is, y'all. And it is more and more, it's getting more and more simple. I like Neo am now seeing the numbers behind the system. I'm not looking at the system. I don't see a truck in front of me. I see numbers. I see the coding. That's the difference. So I can talk with conviction. Okay. And I've done enough research and study to back me up. I can find, select, choose, and define those legally protectable interests that I have. And all you got to do is reduce that to writing. That's it. And put that right up into that legal system, American jurisprudence. And they will love you for it. I told you, the last time I went in there, I got my first compliment from the judge. And that felt so freaking awesome. It felt so freaking awesome because I was on the other side of it at one time, right? I was, you a sovereign citizen, this and blah, 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 blah. Oh, but now, because we learned how to play the game, we're garnering respect now. Now they're respecting me. That's the difference. See, I was in there. You don't own me. I'm not under your jurisdiction. Here, it says right here, here's the case law. How can you disregard that? Are you going to tell me that there is no in between my blah, 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 blah? Yeah, I was doing all that. That was me. I got recordings. I was doing it. But it's a world of a difference now. Because now when I walk in there with authority and power, and I say few words. Yeah, that's what that story in the Garden of Gethsemane, when they came to take Jesus away, allegedly, right? And they were so astounded. He was like, I, who you are searching for, am he. And the Bible says they stumbled back. They came back. Are you Jesus? I am he. They stumbled back. Like, because I see numbers. As Morpheus says, lastly, I'm not telling you you can dodge bullets. I'm telling you, when the time comes, when you come to the age of enlightenment, when you get the full understanding of this and stop being distracted and dissuaded by erroneous applications and processes that people are just experimenting. You're being used as a lab rat. It took me less than 10 minutes to go to the 1099 section of the IRS and discredit. And I didn't discredit it. You're not supposed to be using those. That's all there is. When the time comes, you're not going to need to dodge the law anymore. You will learn how to use the law to your advantage, and you'll start winning, and you'll start getting respect. And that is the democratic process. If you don't like something that the state statute is saying, if you don't like what your politicians are doing, as my favorite jurist, rest in peace, Antonin Scalia says, you know, there is a democratic process. That's all I'm saying. Use it. Just do things in accordance with the law. Find the legally protectable interest and you will do just fine. But don't bring these spaced out arguments because they're not working. They have not worked. And again, I issue the challenge. Anybody that can prove that their system works, you know, whatever, bring it on. Bring it on. But I'm going to challenge it. You're going to have to demonstrate. All right? Because I don't think there's anybody out there doing it. I just don't. Nothing has demonstrated that there is. Excuse me. Tupac-Avelli. All right. Go ahead and say whatever you want to. I'll let you close out the show. I appreciate you for being here and supporting. And your questions were great. Joey Cox, thank you for being here as well. All right. Thank you, Roblox. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, go ahead, Tupac-Avelli. Whatever you wanted to talk about, last minute or two, go for it. Or question, whatever.
Have you ever heard of Anna von Reitz?
Yeah. With the assemblies?
Yeah, that's where my questions were stemming from because I've been looking into her information. She's one that I'm pretty sure she's the one that said you have to be a state national to be able to get a land patent. So that's where I'm coming from, is looking into her information. Yeah. So I don't like to publicly discredit people. That's not what I'm here for. But I do speak the truth to power. I don't care who you are. Okay, I'll still speak the truth because the people that are here have entrusted their education to me. If I can help steer you out of something that I perceive may get you into trouble, that is not accurate, I'm just going to do it. This is my platform. You know, they don't have to come here. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, I'm just going to plainly state there's nothing that suggests to me. Some of their clientele have come over to me and show me what's happened and what they're displeased about and what's not accurate and what's not consistent. And so there's nothing that states you have to become any state, national, whatever. You're already, listen to me, you're already a free national. There is a
process need. You all did the process. 14th Amendment clearly spells it out. All persons born or naturalized, and then it goes on to say, in the U.S. and in the state in which you reside. They already recognize you as being a state national. You have dual citizenship. You have the U.S. citizenship and the state in which you reside. Do not forget that the state in which you reside is a sovereign. You already have dual citizenship, so stop doing all these processes trying to prove you're a state national. They're like, duh, we know that. You have dual citizenship. Look at the Articles of Confederation, look at find the Articles of Confederation, read it over the Articles of Confederation. It'll spell it out for you plainly. The state was sovereign. The states are still sovereign. The only thing that they basically pledged up to the U.S. government as of 1789 was merely the power over commerce and trade. They retained everything else. Read it. So you're already recognized in law as a state national. That's why you have a state of Wisconsin ID. So people have been wasting their time with this stuff, man. And that's why it's not getting any traction. You don't see anything happening. Do you see any national news or state news of assembly members and they're making progress and the news is interviewing them and saying, wow, you know, you have really enlightened the world on your, or the nation? No, you don't see any of that, because when it comes down to it, I'm for unincorporated associations. I'm for trusts, community. You know, I also that those 19 families out there in Georgia have bought up all that land and are doing, last I checked, are doing amazing out there. I think that's great. Irish people are great for what they do. They do furniture, do their thing. So I'm not against that. It's whatever you be more, be more. So I don't got a problem with any of that. All I'm saying is, it's not what you thought it was. You don't have to fight against the system. Just learn it. Use it for what it was meant to be used for. This was never personal. It was never against you as a human. There is nothing in the state statute that basically, except for protecting you as a human. But other than that, I'm a robot again. Uh-oh. Speaking of transhumanism. You know, start shorting out. Yeah, well, we're going to end anyways. It's been 2 hours and 2 minutes. Wow. I've been sitting here in my car for 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Thanks for having me on. I'm like, peace out. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for being, continue or whatever. And this is what we do it here at the platform. Perhaps as opposed to any other platform, this type of information you get here. We didn't make it to the whiteboard today, but we will be back. All right. I love you all. And now you've been made free. The question is, what are you going to do with it? All right. We will see you, if not before, next week, Sunday, same bat station, same bat channel, around 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. Woo! Oh, what did you think about the intro? Do you like it? I put some work in on that. You want to see it again? Here, I'll put it on again. Well, yeah. Tell me what you think, and then we'll get out of here. So what do you think? Is that nice? I mean, I put a little work in. I'm not totally professional at doing those edits and all that kind of stuff. But it's fun. It's fun. If you haven't done that, I would recommend that you do that. I use I think it's called Final Cut. It's pretty fun. Everybody should try that. Be creative. Use your creativity. All right, it suits you. All right. With that being said, I love you all. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here, and hopefully, you were rewarded away from this. Everything is here. I did promise it. It is here. All right. I can leave you the water, but I can't make you drink it. Make you drink it. Okay? So if you need a conversation, talk about your slow endeavors, what you hope to do, we do trusts. Your call. All right. With that being said, now you've been made free. The question is, what are you going to do with it? We'll see you next time. I'll try and put a video up in the middle of the week sometime. Pretty busy with the course and doing all kinds of things, but things are looking up. Stay tuned. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. Oh, and always use and wield these weapons wisely. We'll see you soon. Peace. Bye. Hi.